Facebook was interested in, get this, licensing the Pegasus malware to spy on their own iOS users. John Gruber reminded me about this whole thing on Daring Fireball, but let that sink in for a moment. Bad enough it's less big tech and more big social tobacco to begin with, but does it really have to be so damn big social brother about it so always? Pegasus spyware, which was splattered Watchman smiley face bloodstained style all over the news cycle just a couple of weeks ago, is what the NSO Group licenses out to nation states and agencies to infect iPhones and Android phones for the purpose of intelligence and counterintelligence gathering, including, according to the recent accusations, authoritarian regimes who then use it on journalists and dissidents and opposition parties, even other governments. In a declaration from the NSO Group's CEO, he said that 2 Facebook representatives approached them back in October of 2017 and asked to purchase the rights to use certain capabilities of the Pegasus spyware. Now, previously, Facebook had been just running rampant on iOS, using frameworks in a way that they were never intended to monitor what other apps we had installed on our iPhones, so they could try and figure out where we were spending our time and attention, when it wasn't on Facebook. And that's how they identified threats. We're scrolling Instagram instead of the newsfeed, by Instagram. We're texting through WhatsApp instead of Messenger, by WhatsApp. We're snapping our chats instead of booking our faces, so by Snapchat. Oh, wait, they won't sell? Then just clone their features, put stories everywhere. It's exactly the reason why Facebook seemed so willing to pay so much for what were considered ludicrous prices at the time, or just facehugger on what seemed like completely alien feature sets, only to have, turns out, gotten ludicrously good deals and stolen back tons of attention now in hindsight. But that golden era of data piracy rather than privacy was ending. Apple was cracking down and tightening up, and the ability for Facebook to see what other apps were installed and figure out what other apps we were using and what we were doing with them was becoming increasingly difficult, if not impossible. And unlike Google, Facebook had just never been able to get their act together enough to ship their own phone or browser or platform like Android, Pixel, and Chrome. So they couldn't just get the data directly, straight from the source. And that's probably why Facebook bought a company called Innovo in 2013, which among other things offered a virtual private network or VPN service. Now, a VPN's job is to protect our internet traffic, everything we're doing on the net, every site we're going to, every server we're connecting to, by tunneling it away from our computers and out through the VPN's computers. That shields our activities from our ISP, but also blocks things like person-in-the-middle attacks on free Wi-Fi networks at coffee shops and airports, and sometimes allows for geo-hopping so we can watch Netflix in France. But because all of our traffic is then being tunneled through the VPN gets perfect knowledge of that traffic. They're the one who sees every site we're going to, every server we're connecting to. And Innova had been using or abusing that privilege for data harvesting, which had already led it to be frequently classified as, you guessed it, spyware. Now that Innova VPN, that spyware, was Facebook's, and in a plan just fiendishly clever in its intricacies, they started using Innova to work around Apple's privacy protections and resume spying on iOS user activity, our activity, even going so far as to advertise Innova inside the Facebook app to try to get it on as many iPhones as possible. But apparently, even that wasn't enough, because according to the NSO Group's CEO, Facebook said Innova just still wasn't as effective at gathering user data from iPhones as it was from Android phones. So, get this, Facebook was willing to pay a monthly per user fee to NSO for parts of Pegasus so they could more deeply monitor people using Innova Protect on iPhone, the data harvesting parts, because Facebook wouldn't even need the hacking parts. We're doing that for them all by ourselves. We're hacking ourselves by installing their apps to begin with. They just needed a way to pull more data out of us once we installed their apps, more than Apple's security and privacy protections would otherwise have allowed. And I guess they figured military-grade spyware was just the way to go there. Now, Facebook has claimed that NSO's account was inaccurate and misrepresented the discussion, but they've offered no alternative account or rationale for that discussion, at least not that I've ever seen. Also, that NSO was making the claims to deflect from Facebook suing them over NSO's exploits of WhatsApp. NSO said they ultimately refused to license any part or parts of Pegasus to Facebook because Facebook is a private company and NSO only deals with governments, which governments exactly being part of the whole current controversy. Anyway, Facebook was forced to pull Innova Protect entirely from the iOS App Store in 2018 due to just fatal violations of Apple's anti-data harvesting policies. But, of course, the story doesn't end there. Like Spice, the data must flow. So why not just go full-on Harkonnen? Facebook, on the side hustle, began offering something called the Facebook Research app. The deal was they'd pay you up to $20 a month, and in exchange, they'd get to collect data on app usage, web browsing history, web search history, location history, personal messages, photos, videos, emails, and Amazon order history. Kicker was, the Facebook Research app was allegedly just Innova Protect, rebranded, repackaged, and distributed outside the App Store. Uppercut was Facebook using ads on networks like Instagram and Snapchat to target it on teenagers, children as young as 13. And all of this in direct violation of Apple's policies on how these certificate distribution systems are supposed to work. In other words, they're meant for internal use only, within the company only, never for external distribution in end runs around App Store privacy and security protection. So when all of this came out, as all of this inevitably does, Apple pulled Facebook's developer certificate, which immediately killed all instances of Facebook Research on all iOS devices everywhere. Because yes, in this case, Go Walled Garden capabilities go. It also killed all of Facebook's internal apps, so nobody could check the Cantina menu or find their way around campus for a bit. Facebook eventually sunsetted their Research app for good, even on Android. But Apple also started just ratcheting up the privacy protections, including app tracking transparency and privacy labels in iOS 14, and now privacy reports and private relay in iOS 15, which is why Facebook said they needed to start inflicting pain on Apple, even as Apple was encouraging Facebook to just delete our data already. And I've got videos up for you deep diving into just all of that. And you can watch them ad-free, sponsor-free, like all of my videos, sometimes with extended bonus cuts, even originals, on Nebula. And not just my videos, but MKBHD, iPhonedo, Georgia Dow, Jordan Herod, Low Spec Gamer, Jenny Ma, Ali Abdal, Tech Alter, and so many more, all ad-free, sponsor-free, on Nebula, and bundled in for free when you sign up with today's sponsor at curiositystream.com/ReneRitchie or click the link below. And right now, because you're watching this channel, you can get CuriosityStream for 26% off, less than $15 a year, less than the price of a fancy dessert for a whole entire year. And that includes their thousands of amazing documentaries and series, like History of Science, where the one and only Hank Green teaches you the history of science. Plus, you'll be supporting educational creators directly for over 26% off CuriosityStream, less than $15 a year, and Nebula bundled in for free. Just click the link below or go to curiositystream.com/ReneRitchie, and clicking on that link really helps out the channel. And so does clicking on this playlist with my deep dives into all the Apple and Facebook drama, all the Zuckerberg, all the Cook, all of it. Just click on that playlist and I'll see you in the next video.